Guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you all the essential settings, mods, and resource packs that you need to change for Minecraft PvP. Let's jump into it. So the first setting that I like to change is my FOV. So with a lower FOV, then the hitbox is bigger. However, you can see less. Like you can see more around you with a higher FOV. Now, it's really up to personal preference, but the sweet spot is generally between 90 and 100, because then you can aim quite well while still being able to see around you. The next setting I like to change is in music and sound options. Then I like to turn music off, as well as weather and ambient down, and then just adjust it so that you can focus on, like, particularly the PvP. And then I also like to turn closed captions on, because especially in whole fights, you can see where they are and you can know a lot better. You can have a lot better awareness. In video settings, there's not a whole lot you need to change. I like to turn VSync off for input latency, and then just match your max frame rate to whatever your monitor refresh rate is. So if it's 60 Hz monitor, then you want to set it to 60, 120, you set it to 120. I also like to turn clouds off, as well as the glint strength up and the glint speed off, just so that you can see whether your opponent's armor is enchanted or not. You also want to turn view bobbing off, because it kind of makes your screen shake when you're running, and that really just messes with your aim and does not help you at all. Alright, in chat settings, all I like to do is just turn the chat text size down to like 65, and then change the unfocused height and the width down. And this just means that it'll take up a lot less of your screen, and it makes it a lot easier to see what's going on. The next setting you want to change is in accessibility settings. You will want to turn off damage tilt, FOV effects, and distortion effects. And you want to turn your narrator hotkey off. Also with damage tilt, it messes with your aim if it's up too high, but you can keep it to like 5 or 10% if you like, just so that it's easier to tell when you're taking damage from like lava or poison. Finally, in controls, you want to set your sprint to toggle, because then you don't just have to be holding control the whole time or whatever you press to sprint, because it's another finger freed that you can use for other keybinds. So you just want to set that to toggle. Mouse settings, sensitivity is really up to you. I like between 40 and 50, but that's personal preference. Just experiment with it a lot. In keybinds, the main things that I would change is under miscellaneous. I would switch toggled perspective to a more accessible key, such as tab, and then list players to something less important. And then there's not a whole lot else you need to change other than your inventory keybinds. These are just completely personal preference. Make sure all of them are comfortable, because you'll be using all of them quite a lot, except for dropping. Also, I would recommend, if nothing else, put drop to 1 and hotbar slot 1 to Q, just so you don't accidentally drop your sword while you're fighting. That's all for settings. Now let's get into the mods. So right here, I have a list of what I think is all the essential mods. And first we've got Apple Skin. And basically what Apple Skin is it shows your saturation bar, which is normally hidden in vanilla. And what saturation is, like a secondary hunger bar, if your saturation is all the way filled, you'll regenerate health a lot faster. And it also has a ton of customization options for however you want to customize it. The next mod, we've got Backdraw mod. Basically what this does is you can change vanilla brightness, so it's basically like full bright, built in with a ton of other useful things, such as a low fire, a low shield, just so that your screen is freed up, as well as all of these, which it's really just up to you. These are more like for survival. The next mod, Crosshair Indicator. What this does is it adds a little outline around your crosshair when you're hovering over a player and you're in range of them, so it makes it easier to tell when you can hit somebody. Inventory HUD Plus is a very important mod because the armor HUD, if you turn the armor HUD on, I would recommend turning everything off except for the armor. I like this more than other armor HUDs because it shows in a percentage, which makes it easier to repair your armor. And then you can see it's got a nice config menu. You can put them wherever you want. I personally just put them in the corner like this. And that way, it's not in the way at all. Next mod is just mod menu. It allows you to easily configure all your mods. You can see when I hover over my mods, it's got a little config display. Not enough animations. Now, you would think it's kind of weird that you'd use an animations mod for PvP. But what you really want is add an eating and drinking animation. That's what you want. Because it makes it a lot easier to tell when somebody is eating, or healing rather. And you can know when to aggro. And you can use whichever ones you want. Just turn off the burning animation. Status effect timer. It just shows a little number on your potion effects so you know when they're running out. You can use this or the one built into potion inventory HUD plus. Now getting into resource packs. The first one that you're going to want is smaller handhelds. This just frees up your screen because everything in your hands are a lot smaller and you just have a much clearer view of everything. You're also going to want the small totem pops resource pack. This one just means that when you pop your totem, it doesn't take up your whole screen and you can actually see and continue to fight. So that one's really good. Now, the next three are kind of more necessary for crystal PvP, although they're nice for other ones. It's a no smoke pack, which just means that there's no smoke above fire, so you can see better in whole fights. No explosion particles, you can see when you're crystalling. And then fire is resized, which makes the fire texture on the ground shorter, so that you can see better. That's it. I hope you all enjoyed. If so, if you can consider liking and subscribing. And leave any suggestions for future videos in the comments. See ya!